Hey everyone. So if you're in the self-storage world, you know that feeling of getting a new move-in. It's great. But what if I told you that focusing only on that first month's rent is probably the biggest mistake you can make? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the real long-term value of a rental. Let's get into it.
So just stop and think about this for a second. When you rent out a unit, what is that one rental, what is it actually worth to your business? The answer is way more than just a simple number, and getting it right can totally change how you run things.
And this slide right here really says it all. On the left, you've got how most people see it. A rental is a quick $100 transaction for a single month. But look over on the right, that's the real story. If that same tenant sticks around for just 1 year, suddenly that rental is worth $1,200. And that's just the starting point. This is the huge mindset shift we're diving into today.
So this brings us to the first big idea, what we're calling the one-month mindset. It's hands down the most common way operators look at their business. But you know what? It's also the most expensive.
Think of it like this. That first month's rent, that's just the tip of the iceberg. All the real money, the long-term revenue, the rate increases, all those fees, it's all hidden under the water. So when you only focus on that tiny piece that you can see, you're basically making big decisions with like 10% of the information. And that almost always leads to some costly mistakes down the line.
Okay, so if the one-month mindset is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's all about understanding this little secret called lifetime value and really learning to see the complete profitable picture of every single person who rents from you.
Let's just be super clear on what this means. Tenant lifetime value, or LTV for short, is the metric that matters most. It's not just 1 month's rent. It's all the money a tenant brings in, from the day they move in until the day they move out. That's the number you really need to care about.
So what actually makes up this lifetime value? Well, there are basically 4 key drivers. Of course, you've got your base monthly rent. Second, and this one is absolutely critical, is how long that tenant stays. Third, you've got your strategic rate increases. And finally, all the extra income from fees and other add-ons. You put them all together and they really start to compound to create that true value.
And this really just hammers the point home. I love this quote because it sums it all up perfectly. You're not just in the business of one-month transactions. You're in the business of growing the total value of that customer over time.
All right, so knowing about LTV is one thing, but where do operators really go wrong with this? Let's talk about the common traps that people fall into when they're stuck in that short-term, one-month mindset. I gotta think of this as a how-to-lose-money guide for self-storage. First up, basing every decision on that initial payment. Then, number 2, throwing out these huge discounts just to get a quick move-in without even thinking if that tenant's gonna stick around. 3, totally forgetting to have a plan for raising rates on your existing tenants. And number 4, this is a huge one, not even knowing how long your tenants stay on average. Every single one of these mistakes just eats away at your real profit potential.
Okay, enough about the problems. Let's get practical. Here is a 4-step action plan you can use to shift your thinking and really start maximizing your facility's value, like today.
This plan is really simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Step 1. Go find out your average length of stay. Seriously, if you don't know this number, that's your homework. Step 2. Use that number to figure out the average lifetime value of one of your tenants. Step 3. Take a hard look at your promotions. Are you just attracting people looking for a 1-month deal, or are you bringing in long-term customers? You got to adjust. And finally, step 4. Put a systematic plan in place for regular rate increases.
And this is why it's also important. The real goal here is to change how you see your business. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who just rents out boxes month by month. Instead, you start seeing yourself as someone who is strategically building valuable long-term assets.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. When you go back to your business, look at your strategy, your marketing, your day-to-day choices. Ask yourself, am I just renting units or am I building assets? Because honestly, the answer to that question is what's going to define your success.